Manchester City kept their title hopes alive with a massive 2-1 away win against Liverpool. And this was a game that really needs to be understood through its tactical evolution rather than just the scoreline. From the opening minutes, the intensity was extreme. Both teams lined up in a 4-3-3 and immediately committed to aggressive pressing, to the point where the ball barely stayed with either side during the first few minutes. Liverpool went for a very strict man-oriented press, deliberately funneling City's build-up toward the right centre-back, Kusanov, who looked uncomfortable under pressure early on and nearly gifted Liverpool a goal inside the first 5 minutes. But what City did exceptionally well was adapt their build-up structure almost immediately. Donnarumma stepped much higher than a conventional goalkeeper during build-up, effectively creating an extra passing option and completely disrupting Liverpool's pressing reference points. Ekitike suddenly had to choose between closing down the goalkeeper or covering the right centre-back, and that hesitation alone gave City the calmness they needed to escape pressure. Even when Kusanov isn't an elite ball progressor, having space in front of you changes everything, and City repeatedly exploited that by stepping into open zones instead of forcing risky passes. A key detail in the first half was Liverpool's midfield behaviour. Players like Gravenberch and Mac Allister were far more focused on protecting depth and running back toward their own goal than aggressively stepping out to press. This created moments where City's defenders and fullbacks could simply carry the ball forward unchallenged. Guardiola's positional rotations on the right side were particularly interesting. City's right winger constantly drifted inside, occupying central zones rather than holding the touchline, and Liverpool's left back followed him in a strict man-oriented way. That movement alone had massive consequences. By dragging the left back inside, City opened up huge spaces out wide, which Haaland attacked relentlessly by drifting into that channel and dragging Van Dijk with him. Donnarumma repeatedly looked for long diagonal balls into that area, and from there Haaland's job was simple: contest the duel, flick the ball on, and allow Semenyo to attack the space at full speed. Over longer distances, Semenyo clearly had the physical advantage, and City created several dangerous moments through this pattern alone. Liverpool struggled to consistently deal with these rotations, and even when they survived, their defensive shape was constantly stretched. City also benefited from Liverpool's midfield indecision. Bernardo Silva's intelligent movement dragged Liverpool's central midfielders out of position, while the defensive midfielder often hesitated to shift across because the zone was already occupied by the left back. The result was a midfield that looked crowded but poorly coordinated, with players unsure whether to press the ball or protect space. Nuns became a magnet for attention in these moments, attracting multiple defenders without actually being closed down properly. One such situation led to a dangerous through ball into Marmoush, where Konaté had to dominate the duel physically to prevent a clear chance. Interestingly, despite Liverpool's obvious issues on their left side, City attacked predominantly down the left flank themselves, often operating without traditional wingers. It was a strange choice on paper, but it allowed City to overload central zones and maintain numerical control rather than relying on isolation out wide. When Liverpool had the ball, City's pressing was intense but controlled. They pressed in a 4-3-3 without overcommitting defenders too high, prioritizing central compactness and maintaining a numerical advantage at the back. However, City's wide players were sometimes caught between pressing and covering passing lanes, which allowed Liverpool to find solutions, especially through Konaté's line-breaking passes. Gravenberch, in particular, showed excellent ability to receive under pressure, turn, and launch attacks, even when surrounded by multiple City players. Liverpool's build-up often lacked central presence, without Szoboszlai acting as the main creative hub, forcing Gravenberch and Konaté to drift toward the flanks to progress play. On the right side, Liverpool frequently created square structures involving Konaté, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and Mac Allister, trying to escape City's press through technical quality rather than direct play. City's pressing shape also created vulnerabilities. Because their right winger stayed so narrow, Liverpool could receive long diagonal passes out wide with relative comfort. Players like Gakpo and Ekitike rotated positions effectively, allowing Liverpool to attack space quickly in transition. Kusanov, still inexperienced at this level, was often more focused on protecting depth than stepping out aggressively, which gave Liverpool time to turn and run at City's back line. Several of Liverpool's most dangerous moments came from simple long balls that bypassed the press entirely, creating 3 versus 3 or 4 versus 3 situations. The issue for Liverpool wasn't getting into these situations, but executing the final action, whether through poor first touches or suboptimal decision-making. Liverpool's transitional threat became even more apparent in the second half. Long passes toward Gakpo allowed him to dominate aerial duels against Nuns, flicking the ball into space for overlapping runners. This mirrored City's own attacking principles and exposed the same structural weaknesses on the opposite side. Kerkez eventually realized he could stay wider and higher, creating frequent 2 versus 1 situations against City's left back. Liverpool also looked extremely dangerous when Alisson simply cleared the ball forward, immediately turning defensive situations into attacking ones due to City's high line and narrow winger positioning. Bernardo Silva deserves special mention for his role without the ball. He was the engine of City's pressing, constantly shifting, blocking passing lanes, and directing pressure with intelligent use of cover shadows. In one pressing sequence alone, he covered over 130 meters, and his work rate and positional awareness were crucial in preventing Liverpool from sustaining pressure. However, despite City's control, Liverpool struck first with an outrageous long-range goal from Szoboszlai. That goal changed the dynamic of the match entirely. Liverpool dropped into a very low block, prioritizing protection of the box over pressing higher up the pitch. This gave City time and space to circulate the ball and repeatedly deliver crosses and long balls into the area without being properly closed down. City's equalizer came from sustained pressure and positional discipline rather than chaos. With Liverpool defending deep, City's defenders could step forward freely, and Haaland's movement inside the box was decisive. He attacked the ball at its highest point, won the aerial duel, and intelligently directed the ball into a dangerous area rather than forcing a shot. Bernardo Silva, once again fully switched on, anticipated the rebound, arrived first inside the 6-yard box, and finished clinically. It was a goal that summed up City's collective awareness and Liverpool's passive defending in deep areas. The winning goal came from the penalty, and while it sparked debate, the sequence itself highlighted Liverpool's defensive communication issues. Nunn's run into the box was never tracked properly, with multiple midfielders guarding space rather than players. Alisson had no chance of reaching the ball and brought Nuns down through sheer momentum. By the laws of the game, it's a clear penalty, and Haaland converted with authority. From that point on, Liverpool threw everyone forward, and City repeatedly punished them on the counter, even if they failed to score a third. One late counterattack perfectly illustrated City's composure and flaws at the same time, with Ait-Nouri choosing the wrong angle and carrying the ball too wide instead of attacking central space. The final controversy came deep into stoppage time with the red card for Szoboszlai. Both players committed fouls in the same sequence, but the initial foul prevented Haaland from reaching the ball first, making it the decisive action under the rules. The disallowed goal and red card were logically consistent decisions, even if emotionally charged. In the end, this match wasn't just about City winning 2-1. It was about Guardiola's ability to manipulate pressing structures, Liverpool's growing reliance on transitions rather than sustained control, and the fine margins that decide elite-level games. City didn't dominate every phase, but they understood the key moments better, and that intelligence ultimately made the difference. If I had to choose who wins the league between Arsenal and Manchester City, I still lean towards City, mainly because of their consistency and experience over a full season. City don't rely on momentum or emotion. They rely on structure, control, and repeatable patterns. They can win in different ways, dominate the ball, suffer without it, or manage tight games late on. Guardiola's teams rarely panic, even under pressure, and that stability is crucial in a title race. Arsenal are strong and improving, but City have been here many times before, and that experience usually shows when it matters most. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Leave in the comments what would you like me to talk about on the next video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Turn on the notification bell so you will never miss an upload. I'll see you in the next one.